back to this mess. How long are you going to stay in this village? Are we looking at wrapping things up here kind of immediately? Are you willing to stay like a couple of days to get the lay of the land? Or are we moving here and now this is the new headquarters of the campaign?
Yes, that.
Saul spent hours and hours and hours making the map, and now this is it. This is what we're doing.
Yeah, this is the map
Blocking
now.
Treble on all of my social media now.
Don't ask stupid questions if you don't want stupid answers.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we have other villages we need to see, but we could get, they want to show us around. That's fine.
Okay, so a couple of days, perhaps?
Probably.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Genie's spending
Rake
the
and
entire
his
time.
people are very glad to show you around, show you how productive that they've been. One of the things Rake shows you is underneath his house this past winter. He's had this beautiful wine cellar constructed, predominantly for storage of the vintage as it comes out. The actual winery hasn't been constructed yet. That's going to be a project for this year, probably, where the actual grapes will be taken and processed and the barrels filled and the wine aged and whatnot. What he's showing you here is more just to kind of show off his personal clout. This will be his personal cellar, eventually, of his own collection. He's very proud of it. And this strikes you as strange, because there's nothing in it yet. And also, he would have had to have had it constructed over the winter when he arrived. And that was apparently done. The cellar itself is... Go ahead.
I'm imagining that construction like this is not cheap.
It's not expensive either. I mean, he had...
So.
The farmers weren't doing anything else over the winter. But no, he didn't pay anybody, if that's what you're asking. He was...
Well, I was wondering if this was like something that was like unusually extravagant.
It is. That's what's a little strange about it. Yeah, this is an extravagance that kind of doesn't make a lot of sense. But he prioritized this.
He doesn't even have the winery yet.
Not yet.
I mean, Genie would look at him and say that exact thing. This is kind of an extravagant expense. Why did you prioritize this over, the capability to actually make wine that you...
And his explanation is basically that the workers didn't have anything else very productive to do over the winter. He's made friends of a lot of the families here. They were more than happy to assist him in this. And the goal is, once they have vintages that they're turning over, the whole village can profit off of this small private enterprise.
You really remind me of a baker I know.
Lugard is impressed. He's impressed.
I mean, why were they not building a winery over the winter?
It's not the kind of work you could reasonably do over the winter. This was digging out a cellar underneath the existing house.
In the middle of winter, when the ground is cold and wet?
Like, do they have grain storage?
A little bit, not a whole lot, but they got through the winter without any casualties, much like you guys did.
I don't know.
I am concerned that this guy, he wants to be a rich guy. That's fair. He's going to be running a business, a profitable one, but I am becoming a little concerned that he is a little too driven for profit.
His priorities leave questions.
I mean, whatever, it's fine. Like, nobody starved to death. It's fine. Just thank you for showing us your nice wine closet.
He can't wait till your next visit when it's full of products.
I thought that was years away.
Well, yes, but he's going to be doing some private collecting between now and then, assuredly.
Uh-huh.
It wouldn't be much of a private collection if it was just all his own vintage,
I have a cask of very fine Barovian wine in my inventory.
It's in your bag,
Yeah.
in your liquor sack.
Yeah, kind of.
I guess it is a liquor sack. Jeannie doesn't even drink. She doesn't even drink, and then, like, she has so much booze.
So why is the question?
The evening before you guys are set to leave Ale hears, because Lugren is staying behind here.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
The evening before you're set to leave, he comes to see you guys off before turning in for the night. He lets slip that he believes, and at this point he's a little bit in his cups, as is his wont, as the sun goes down. He believes that Rake is very confident in his success because he has a secret family method, family secrets that need to be put into place that he hasn't been forthcoming with. He hasn't described what they are. They're trade secrets. He wouldn't. But Lugren believes they're very similar to, say, the house magic that successful houses in the Republic would use. There are many profitable vineyards in the Republic, but the most popular of them, the most successful of them, the most wealthy and largest houses, the oldest ones, are the ones that know how to weave magic into the soil. And Lugren is coming to believe that's what Rake can do here.
He did say he was a geologist.
Victor is going to stand up and go take a look at the soil after Lugren makes that comment.
And it looks like
And
a
he's gonna-
fistful of...
Well, he's going to try an Arcana to see if there's any magic notion to it.
Not as far as you can tell.
Okay.
Well, I mean, as long as he's not, like, I don't know, chopping people up to put them in the soil. And...
Well, I mean, this is Ravenloft.
Edmont,
We
make
can't
an
rule
insight
that
check.
out.
Yeah, do I find any bones out there?
Check. Don't mind if I do. That's a 21.
You guys are talking about... Lugren is explaining how he thinks that Rake is using like old family magic, and that he would support this endeavor, and he hopes that all of you would too. There'd be no reason not to. And Jeannie's like, well, you know, as long as they're not chopping people up. Edmont, you cannot help but recall the scarring you saw on the man's arms during your first conversation.
Yeah, once we're private, Edmont will bring that up and say
You guys are private right now. You guys are
Yeah.
alone.
Like-
yeah, Edmont will bring that up that I did see that, and I don't know what it means, but I'm very suspicious this man
Yeah,
might be from Brendanine.
so,
we-
like,
Victor's not there with you guys. He's out with
what kind of scars, like, were they? Like, were they burns? Were they burn scars, or were they like cut scars? Were
Impossible
they...
to say. You didn't get a great look at him. You saw some white scarring on like the edge of where his arm meets his wrist, tucked up under his sleeves, and that was it.
Well, you know what that means. Somebody's got to go shake his hand.
We gotta find out what this guy's got under his fingernails. I'm beginning to think that wine cellar is not a wine cellar. He is hiding something else down there.
And Lugren tries to bring the conversation to a halt. I'm like, well, now wait a minute. It's like there's no evidence that he's doing anything wrong. Great, powerful, wealthy families throughout the Republic use magic. The Veritas do, of course. We owe all of our wealth and privilege to the magic controlled by our fathers. We shouldn't deny this man his own secrets.
I mean, as long as he's, again, not killing anybody and chopping them and putting them in the soil. But here's the thing, Lugren. Do you know what pattern recognition is?
Lugren doesn't answer, but he gives you an insulted look.
Okay, look, we are House Veritas. We don't like secrets. We like to know what's going on. That's
are
just
pretty
in our
nosy.
blood.
We are nosy.
Rick, does Victor
It's like-
find anything unusual ways outside
No,
look
just-
around?
Your hands are dirty now. 'Cause
Okay,
you're
that's
We
playing
are an
dirty.
obnoxious, nosy bunch. We are.
Like that's like in Latin. That's like our house motto. We're nosy.
My suggestion is we take a closer look at that wine cellar.
Well, the soil seems fine. Victor walks back in and shakes his hands off.
Well, I'm wondering that if this man is actually from Brennany.
I think he would recognize us if he was.
Not necessarily. I mean, you guys.
Not
were-
necessarily. There are many noble families all over the.
Also, we were from the sticks,
Brennany had a population of like 1.2 million or something.
and our house is from the sticks. Like we were just. So yeah,
1.2 million is a massive city for a medieval era.
So the question is, do you want to go ask permission to check out the wine cellar, or do we just want to go check it out?
Lucarin counsels a lighter touch here. He doesn't think anybody should be checking out the wine cellar at all. See,
Where do you
listen,
think
I-
we should
I'll
be?
be- I will be negotiating here. I'll be living and operating in the village, working with Rake long term. If anything untoward happens, of course, you'll be the first to be notified.
Lugan, do you remember Denny, your cousin?
I have some recollection of the man, he says.
Do you remember what happened to him?
I try not to.
Yeah, that could be you.
are you threatening him or are you warning him?
If we leave him alone in this village, he might just get chopped up in the middle of the night by people singing happy birthday. I'm just saying it wouldn't be the first time.
Wasn't happy birthday. It's your birthday.
Yeah, you gotta like details matter. All right, so that is important. Thank you for pointing that out.
If we cannot leave here comfortable, Lugrin, you staying here is possibly a terrible idea.
All right,
My
Lucarin.
being here was not my idea in the first place, he says, angrily, his buzz starting to wear off as he's glaring at Evie. I was told to be productive and be a working member of the house.
Yes, and you are taking very wonderful first steps towards that. But as a working member of the house, you also need to make sure you don't put yourself in a position where you can get slaughtered and eaten by the villagers.
And he stands up, smacks his hands down on the table. I haven't put myself in any kind of position. You have put me in this position. He looks across at all of you. If I'd have my druthers, I'd be back home in the manor, passing out from wine at this point. A half-eaten cake in one hand and a half-dressed woman on the other. I'm here because of an order from the Duchess.
Okay, so he's right. Calm down. Calm down. You're right. And then Jeannie will say, the first time you'll ever hear me say that, but it's right. You're right. She goes, if in the morning, like, we don't actually have any evidence of any wrongdoing, right?
No.
We just have.
We have questions.
I think we should talk to the man and see what he'll tell us about his process. We can explain why we're asking about the process, which is we've run into situations where people chop up people.
We
and
don't
put
need to
them in
jump
the-
straight to chopping people up. That's rude.
I mean,
Well, what if he's slashing his wrist and letting blood trickle into the soil when he's feeding it?
well, that's fine. That's his blood. He can do with what he. Listen,
Well,
as
hang
somebody.
on. That kind of magic is potentially very dangerous and evil.
I mean, it's fine as long as it's his blood, right?
I mean, you're the magician, you tell me.
I mean, that's like I'm the only. Am I the only one that sees that as being okay? If it's his blood, it's fine.
I think you might be the only person who think that's okay.
Yeah.
I could go either way on that one. I'm sorry.
But like we have no. Like I'm all for sticking my nose where it doesn't belong, but we don't have any information or anything like this. Why don't we leave Luger in a way to get in touch with us immediately? I can provide him with that, and then if we need to, if he sees something weird, Luger is an intelligent enough man to where if he sees something amiss, maybe he can report it. Like maybe people disappearing, that kind of thing.
If I cannot even be trusted with this, he says, then let me go home and live the life of a freeloader and incompetent.
Lugren, it's not that we don't trust you; it's that we're worried about your safety.
Like I think we should leave him here and leave him a way to contact us immediately in case something bad does happen or something. he
Evie's
needs
not
assistance.
really on board with that because Lugren is starting to show signs that he's just going to start going along with whatever's happening around him.
We can still let him try.
Like, this
He's
is legitimately the most involved. I think. Like Jeannie's gonna say, this is the most involved Lugren's ever been in my since I've ever seen him, since ever I've been alive. Let him have this attempt.
Evie, he's right. You did order him here, so let him try. If he doesn't want us to be concerned about his safety, he's a big boy, although
Would
still
you
like to check.
Are you intentionally threatening people, or do you just do it on accident?
No one's threatening anybody. True or false? Denny was eaten by the villagers.
Like, does anybody else hear it, or is it just me?
Yeah, no, I think he just does it at this point.
Okay, it's a mental illness. You think?
It might be that at this point we can't not hear that in his voice more than he just does it. I don't know which.
Didn't Jeannie threaten to light a man's... You know what? Never mind.
So that was an intentional threat. What I'm getting at is is he doing this on purpose or is he doing it unintentionally? That was intentional.
So the question now is, in the morning, are we going to go rake up and start pelting him with all kinds of questions? Or are we going to trust Lugren to take care of the situation going forward?
So your attempts to just mollify Evie into just leaving well enough alone and leave her brother in a potentially compromising position, that is not really going over well with her.
Well, the thing is,
she has some questions she needs to be satisfied with.
You have to trust.
And Lugren's assertion is that those kinds of questions, that's what you've tasked him with taking care of. He's supposed to be liaising between the two of you. He can't do that if you guys are here grilling.
We give him.
Boss.
That's not actually the job I gave him. I gave him the job of learning how to do the craft.
That's
but
true.
he has been it has become something else in his mind.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not the task I laid with him.
That's true.
But so he's here. He's doing it. Either we trust him to do work or we don't trust him.
This is a completely different question. I trust him to learn the craft. If he's willing to put an effort to that, that's fine. Are we leaving him in a dangerous situation? That's a completely different question.
He has men with him, right? He's not alone.
Yeah, he brought some of his drinking buddies to the village with him.
Right. So, either we spend the resources to investigate the village, possibly alienate people, make another enemy, or we just let Lugren here and trust, because he went through all the same training and stuff that we did growing up. He is, at least on paper, as qualified as we are.
To be clear, as far as class levels, he is a level 1 noble.
Right.
He has a house. Well, actually, he lost his house relic, didn't he?
He can make another one.
Yeah, we can get him. He get a replacement house relic. He knows the basics of defending himself. We just got it. We give him a way to reach out, to report in.
Okay, we just saw all this suspicious stuff, and you guys are just saying ignore it.
No.
You're saying letting Lugren deal with it.
We're saying we're letting Lugren be our eyes and ears in this village.
We tell Lugren we have suspicions. He's obviously listening, and he's saying he will look into it.
No,
he see them as very suspicious. He was very impressed with the seller.
Right.
Okay, Lugren is showing signs that he is becoming compromised by this place. He might not be in full command of his faculties. I don't say that out loud.
Victor's standpoint is you're the one that told
Because
him
Edmont
he
would
had
have
to
words
fight.
for you for that.
Anyway.
So other than being a little drunk right now, Lugren's not giving any impression that he's not lucid.
I say we let him be our eyes and ears in this town.
I feel like I'm
As-
being gaslit.
Welcome to Ravenloft.
No, believe me as a player, I hate this too. I hate every bit of this with every fiber of my being.
Like this entire plot point has just been like gaslighting the player, and it is a little disconcerting. But yeah, okay, Lugren, in the morning I will have a thing for you. That will allow you to contact us like immediately, in case there's a problem. Is that okay?
He sits back in his chair and he kind of gives a wave with his hand. He says, "Fine by me, but can I be trusted to operate such an intricate device?"
A rock. You hold it in your hand and you think, I want to send a message to the other rock.
It sounds very complicated. I might need 6 or 7 years of tutelage.
Lugren, I am on your side on this. Do you want me to change my mind?
I haven't said anything to the effect that he's not capable.
No, but he understands that's how people see him. He's not stupid. He's been in this situation he's been in this situation since before you traveled to Brennanine.
Right.
Yeah, I'm trying to give him a chance here. I really am.
Jeannie tells him, Lugren, like, during all of the mess that arises here, you didn't, legitimately did not make anything worse. You pulled your weight, so that's why,
I have zero beef with Lugren. He's probably the only member of the family who can say that right now.
He's like, "You're the one I like."
You just think he's an incompetent drunk.
What is your beef with Jeannie, huh?
No, Genie's good. Genie's good. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to cast an augury. I'm going to say, weal or woe if I leave the village right now without asking any more questions and leave my brother here.
Are you doing this casting while everybody's present, including Lugren?
I'll do this on my own after everyone else retires.
Okay, so
Wait,
where we're leaving this conversation then is...
I'm going to ask some questions to the guy in the morning, but I'm not going to argue anymore tonight.
Okay.
Well, when Lugren leaves the room, everybody else is still here, right?
Well, when Lugren leaves, he leaves with the understanding that you're going to leave him to the work, and that Jeannie is going to give him a walkie-talkie in the morning,
right.
And that will be the end of it for now. That's the understanding he's leaving with at this moment.
Uh-huh. And then Jeannie, as soon as Lugren, she sends Lugren out, she looks and says, "Okay, how are we breaking into the..."
Do you really want to, Jake?
Not really, no, but
I mean, if you really want to, Edmont and I can go.
that's...
If Edmont wants to.
Well, let's do my augury first.
Okay. So you do a casting.
Yeah, it's if I leave the village tomorrow without asking any more questions and leave my brother here, weal or woe.
Whoa.
Yeah, okay. So I feel like that kind of solves the problem.
Like both kinds of woe.
Okay, so Evie just looks at you.
I've never seen this magic.
Yeah, it's
put forth such an awful results before. Usually it's been extremely ambiguous and charlatan-y.
Yeah, the result is not ambiguous.
The little tokens stand up and go, "Girl!"
Molly, you a danger girl.
So, Evie, the good news is, when you actually pour some resources, it's some magical resources, all of your fears and suspicions are more or less confirmed.
Yeah,
Leaving
so
Lugren to this cast is just bad.
So she just looks at you guys and says, okay, so I kind of feel like checking the cellar is what we should try first. I don't think Rake is going to admit to being like an evil wine-nomancer.
Wine-nomancer, okay.
Wine-nomancer, that's a word that we have just created, and now I hate it.
Yeah, it's rough.
Okay, so we can't leave this situation alone. We gotta do something. So what do we want to do? I kind of want to investigate the cellar. Do you guys have other...
Victor stands up and says, "Let's go."
All right, hold on.
What do you mean, hold on? Jeannie, you just said, "Let's go break in."
Yeah, but you got to do preparatory stuff.
I'm always prepared.
Jeannie laughs at you, and she's walking away, and she looks back at you, and she laughs some more, And then, like, she takes one more look at you and goes, "Oh my god, he's serious."
At least I didn't end up trapped in a channel.
Like, I was prepared. I brought my cousin with me. Anyway, no, I was going to. So, all 5 of us do
you.
not need to go.
Orson's there.
Oh yeah, Orson's always there watching, waiting.
I mean, the obvious option is that just Victor and I go and do this surreptitiously. No one else need know.
Yeah, Edmund's pretty good at sneaking.
Right. Well, yeah. Not only that, Edmond can like do pass without trace, but I also could make somebody invisible.
So
I mean, they both can just sneak away on their own. For sure.
Right. Do you want to be invisible? Do you want something else? Do you want just like an improve what is the spell to give them an advantage on like a specific check? The improvability spell. I forget what it's called. Yeah. I have that prepared. And
I mean, wait, can that tag multiple people if you upcast it?
I don't think 5e enhance ability. I don't think so.
Yeah, the next time everyone disagrees with me, I need to start using augury more often.
You can actually. You can target one additional creature with each spell slot above
I'll
level 2.
tag them both with a 3rd level enhanced dexterity. Or wait, you do that. You have 3rd level spells yet?
Yes, I do.
You do that, and I'll hit them both with a bless. That affects checks, right?
Yes.
Oh, bless is only a minute. That's crap.
Well, what other hit him with wisdom?
Oh yeah, I do wisdom and you do dexterity.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're not going invisible, but they're going in with enhance ability.
Like, listen, like
I can get dark vision.
if Edmont is willing to spend the key points, they can just get +10 on top of everything. They're fine.
I do have the ability to cast Pass Without Trace for 2
Let's just
people,
see how dumb
so-
this is. Go ahead and make the 2 of you make a stealth check and apply whatever complete nonsense you guys are going to stack up on here. Let's see how high these
You have
numbers
advantage
go.
on that.
Yeah, you both have advantage, and Victor has his psychic die, and
You get guidance on that?
No, it's concentration. The advantage comes from a concentration source for me.
I'm assuming I can't give one of them the +5 from my whatchamacallit.
Not if you're not with them.
That's
Yeah.
a 30.
You're not going with them. This is
Right.
just spells you're casting before they leave.
That's a 28 from Edmont.
So they've got 2 layers of enhanced ability, and Edmont's using Pass Without Trace. How did Victor do on that stealth roll? On that?
That's a 30.
Okay. So, yeah, you guys have no difficulty sneaking back into the house, probably right behind Lugrin, who is staying there, locating the cellar. I mean, you were there earlier today. It's not under heavy guard. It's not under lock and key. Going down there, the cellar itself, predominantly hard-packed clay and soil, braced with wood. It was all constructed over the course of the winter. And let's get perception checks, one from each of you.
No, you have advantage on these.
Yeah, there's the
Good
wisdom.
call.
24?
20.
Okay. Both of you notice in the back of the cellar, opposite from where you entered from. The entrance, first of all, isn't on the outside of the manor. It's on the inside of the manor, and it's through some stairs that were constructed on the first floor. Opposite that, on the opposite side of the room from the stairs where you came down, you find a trap door built into the floor and then covered with this layer of packed soil and clay. It was very hard to notice. And it's very clearly been covered up for a reason. To open it, you would first have to remove, probably with a shovel or a pick or something, some quantity of soil. It would require some...
Victor will pull out a shovel.
Okay. So yeah, you spend 15 minutes or so clearing away soil as Edmont keeps watch. And so you find the metal loop of the trapdoor ring, and with some difficulty you pull it up. And the space beneath you is completely empty. It's deeper and colder, and it's shored up the same way with packed clay walls with braced with wood. But there's nothing in it at all. It's a very small room, no bigger than maybe 10 feet by 10 feet, and enough clearance for probably 12 foot of clearance or so. Descending down is just a wooden ladder leaning against the wall, and that's the only object in this tiny room.
Is there any hint of magic to it?
You don't detect, you're trained in Arcana, right?
Yeah.
You don't detect any magic in the room, no.
Edmont, you want to go check it out? It looks like a dungeon of some sort, maybe. You want to stand watch? You want to stand watch up and down?
Yeah.
All right, Victor will go down with a lantern.
Shimmy down the ladder into the small room, light your lantern, and look at the walls, and completely empty, featureless room. No bigger than about 10 feet by 10 feet. The ladder seems to be the only entrance and exit. You don't see any other seams in the walls or floors.
So there's no blood stains, no signs of a place where chains might have been attached.
Nope.
Victor will kind of run his hand along the walls and check see if there's any secret passages, maybe.
Yeah, your hands come away dirty, but you don't find any other passages.
Just like standard dirt, no weird black film or...
Nope, just hard-packed soil and clay braced with wood. Pretty standard for a wine cellar.
Nothing else on the floor. Don't basically give it a thorough check and then go back to the ladder.
Completely empty room.
That's unusual.
And after a few moments, Victor comes climbing back up out the ladder.
I'll put the dirt back over the doorway and try to make it so it looks like we didn't get there.
Okay, go ahead
Yep.
and... give me either strength or dexterity check. Just one of the two. You know,
Yeah, advantage on dex, right?
you have advantage on dex checks. Let's make it a dexterity deception check.
That would be a 21.
Okay, so you definitely repack the soil and pack it down with the spade in certain areas. You're pretty sure that there's no indication that you've been here.
Okay. I guess we split
Sure.
back out.
Well, is there anything else? Did we find anything else in the area?
No, eventually this wine cellar will have shelving units and things placed along the walls and interspersed in the center of the room. Places where casks and bottles and things can be stored, but none of that is implemented yet. It's just been dug out and supported, braced together.
So Victor will establish it. The owner guy sleeps in the same house, right?
Yes, this is his house. He's up on the second floor with his, it's complicated.
Okay, so Victor will establish a psychic connection to Edmont, and he will make the suggestion that they go upstairs and get a closer look at the dude's arm.
Agreed.
Because you have a fairly high sleight of hand too, right?
Mm-hmm. I do.
Let's go strip a sleeping man.
Sounds good.
So are you both going to sneak into the bedroom together?
That seems like doubling your chance of failure.
It is.
Yeah. I'll go in by myself then.
What's your? I got a 12 sleight of hand. What's yours?
Same.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go in, I'll stand watch.
Yeah.
It's a hard call because both of you can teleport, both of you can see in the dark.
Yeah, you're both pretty good for this kind of thing.
Edmont,
Yep.
give me another sneak check, please.
Don't mind if I do.
I'll be rolling a disadvantage here for my unconscious NPCs.
Oof. Oh, God. Why do I... It was going to land on a 20. It was, but it didn't.
Was it? What did it land on?
It's a 12.
12?
Should have gone.
Okay.
Yep.
Sneaking into the room, Rake and Lucy are kind of tangled up.
Why is it a 12? You have passed without trace on, right?
22, yeah.
That's much different.
I was going to say, like, wait a minute. You rolled a 4.
It is still 22.
Yeah, it's still 22.
I thought he said 12.
Edmund is the hide and seek champion.
He did say 12 because he forgot he had passed without trace.
Yeah. Forgot my own buff. Yay.
Rake and Lucy are tangled up underneath the linens on their bed. Lucy is snoring wildly and kind of just babbling and mumbling in her sleep. Give me a sleight of hand check.
Maybe I should have done this with my psychic die.
22.
Okay. There's a lot of 22s happening right now.
Sure is.
So you reach down and you definitely pull one of the bed sheets aside, revealing his arm.
Mm-hmm.
You get your fingers underneath his cufflink. Definitely push it out with your thumb. Open up the sleeve. Pull it down an inch or two. And yeah, you can see scarring going pretty deep down the inside of his arm. White scars. These are not battle scars. These are not things that were inflicted upon him in like a time of war. These are crisscrossed scars in like an X pattern on both sides of his arm, done with a knife.
What do you see?
Ritual. Looks like he's lit his own blood.
Do we think that he let the blood of somebody else?
Are you standing in the doorway talking to Edmont?
He's
Or
got
no, we're
telepathy.
saying it's like
Telepathy.
Okay.
Like I said, I'm thinking that
he's definitely using blood magic. It's, I guess, a question of would he use Lugren's blood? Evie seems to think so. Have you seen any indication of barrels or anything? Do we overlook something?
I don't think we have.
Why don't we go
Yeah,
take a look
get out of
around
here.
the village?
Yeah, let's skedaddle and take a better look at things.
Is there anything else you're going to do here in the Wunderly house?
No.
So I guess the question, going through the village earlier, did we see any indications of like where, wine barrels or anything where they would store wine once it was made?
Probably a shop doing barrel making. Like that enterprise is probably underway. There's always a need for barrels in a village like this.
I guess the only thing we'll have to do in this house would be let's do another pass on the house, see if there's any more secret or hidden passages anywhere. We might keep some sort of weird arcane workshop, or if we can find the knife with blood or something.
You don't detect any magic in the house. The only other people staying there is Lugren has a room prepared for him. Then they have a couple of just house servants. But the only thing out of the ordinary was the cellar and then the weird secret room beneath the cellar.
There's no do we find any spy holes where somebody could stand and watch Lugren while he sleeps in that room?
No.
It's Halloween. We gotta look for the obvious things here.
This is Halloween.
So after a little while, Edmont and Victor return with bizarre tidings.
Yeah.
So just a hidden room with nothing in it, huh?
It's an
very-
omelette. That's the only thing I can think of. It's a
Very-
prison.
An oubliette?
Yeah, is that how it's pronounced?
Yeah. I mean, definitely, you could justify that it's for aging wine, possibly, but I think it's for aging people.
You don't need to hide that.
Well, no, but underground in the dark would be good for, special precious wines. I mean, I could see him trying to justify that, but it's probably for people. I mean, let's be honest.
So-
Did the ladder seem like it'd be able to be removed?
Yeah, it's
I-
just a wooden ladder that they had lowered down there so people can access the space.
I mean, all we got to do is just let's find out who dug the cellar and ask them about it. We could lie to them and say we're looking for, we're trying to learn more about it, so we just have information.
Sure, there aren't more ice dungeons underneath our lands.
Yeah.
We need to find more about the winemaking process. Obviously, he's using blood magic to do it, but I don't know anything about that.
So tomorrow morning, you're not going to immediately go grill Rick with a bunch of questions. Rather, you're going to
But
stay
I
in the
want to
village.
get Lugren away from him.
I'm going to give Lugren the sending stone and pat him on the back and say, "Don't tell anybody you have that. Call me. Call me if you need any help. We'll
Okay.
come running."
I'll let the party give me a.
Let me mark that as infused.
A charisma investigation check.
Charisma investigation. I've got a.
I have a +8 investigation and 0 charisma modifier.
Well, you're probably going to be the best at it.
Yep.
Well, you do have to make sure you're subtracting your intelligence bonus from that.
Can we give him advantage because we're all going to be participating?
I'll say I'll let you make advantage on the roll if you start if you frame it as, we are the ruling family and we demand answers.
I'm the Duchess. I can do that.
You can, but you can also choose not to do that.
So is this a group check or is this something we can apply?
This is a group check. I'll have one of you make it. And you
All
can
right,
make it at advantage if you're going to have Evie using the full weight, or any of you using the full weight of your name here.
Can we just make it advantage if we start layering magic upon Victor?
If you use magic to give him advantage, you can.
Yeah, okay. Hey Victor, guess what?
What?
You now have advantage on you said it was charisma?
Charisma.
Yeah. You have
Charisma
advantage
investigation.
on charisma checks,
So Victor, go ahead and give me that check.
and you get a +5 to whatever you roll from my Flash of Genius.
Okay, any other bonuses here?
I mean, you're the one with the extra D8 on skill checks.
No extra D4?
Oh my goodness.
Oh, sure, yeah. Take a D4. Why not? Nice.
Just throw it on the pile.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
It's okay,
So-
I'm gonna get it.
That's I don't know. That was a
That was a 1. Yeah, so it's a 10 plus 5 would be 15.
So, the man who was doing this work for Rayek, digging out the cellar, his name was Asgale. Asgale and his team, they're farmers in town, just laborers.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It was investigation. It's a 23.
He had nothing else to do during the winter. Rayek came. The villagers liked him immediately. He has a lot of knowledge about geology and running a profitable vineyard, and they knew that that House Veritas was going to be sending a guy down to get the production up and running. So, from the standpoint of just camaraderie for the village, Asgale and his boys agreed to do the work up at the house. Asgale unfortunately died before the end of the winter.
Of what?
Sickness. He took a chill that just did not fade. But his
Oh,
boys were able to complete the work.
so just the single room. Did you do any other work?
They only the people you talk to, or the men who did the actual digging, only talk about the cellar itself. They don't seem to know anything about the secret room that you've discovered. And they all absolutely believe that Asgale just took a chill and died. Like, they all watched him get sick and the treatments didn't work. Very, very common thing in villages like this during the winter. They count themselves lucky that, he was already an old man. So it's not a weird thing at all. But yeah, they did the work. They don't know anything about the secret room.
Did they know anybody else who was doing work in the manor?
I mean, they're, like I said, serving people that live there, that serve Rake and his It's Complicated.
It's complicated, huh?
Well, she's not his wife. His wife died in this war. His whole family was lost.
Huh.
But she is living and sleeping with him,
She's not a succubus, is she?
as far as you know.
So somebody put that room up, but who?
Well, they're keeping it secret. I think we've certainly crossed the line where there is no way there is any legitimate purpose for this room. This is a room for, horrifying, inhumane things. We cannot leave my brother here. We have to confront Rake. It'd be nice if we had more information, but I'm not sure how much more we're going to get.
We could always put Reek in the room and see how he reacts.
Oof.
What?
No, that's just not a very nice thing to do to somebody. That's
Put them in their own room.
Yeah, that's what.
Maybe he shouldn't have a weird torture room.
That's what
Yeah, well, but he has such a
Daenerys
honest,
Targaryen
reputation.
did to Zara, Zoe, and Daxos in the TV show. Just locked him in his own vault and left him there.
I mean, let's invite him down there and like I have liquor and wine in my bags. Let's give him a gift. Let's lure him down there with promises of like bottles from like another realm.
Why don't we ask for we can go down there with your excuse, and then one of us can accidentally trip, and Victor makes air quotes, over the opening to the thing, and then we can ask about it.
Okay, he's gonna have a story, and it's gonna be bullshit, but he's gonna be prepared for someone to ask questions about it.
I mean, let's ask him, and let's just say, oh, well, what's that over there? Victor, just ask him. Just like, hey, what's that over there? Because, like, how visible was it?
It was very difficult to notice. These guys are just outrageously good on perception.
Right,
Yeah,
I know, but, like,
we were digging through. We dug through quite a bit of hard pack to get to it.
I mean, like, but it's
I'll
not
put it this
something
way.
like...
Nobody passively noticed it on your first visit when he first took you down to the cellar.
Right. But, like, is it something where... I mean, let's just say Victor or Edmont just notice it while we're down there giving him a gift of, like, rare wines that we've come across in our thing. You know, it's like here's a housewarming gift. Have this wine we stole from a ghost train.
What I'm saying is he's gonna lie about it unless we can force him to not lie.
But what if we get him drunk first?
What if we hear what his lie is before we, you know, like why is that hidden?
I'm with Ginny. I want to hear what he has to say about it. We know it's going to be a lie.
Okay.
So you make a call.
Don't expect him to say, "Oh, this is my torture room."
Of course not. He's not
Maybe
like...
he and Lucy are into some real kinky stuff.
I mean, to be fair, a lot of the horrible people we've met have been very open about it, so he might. There's a non-zero chance of him going, yeah, that's just my torture abattoir. It's where I keep the blood.
The Flumph veterans at the table are just very used to meeting NPCs that have just torture dungeons. It does seem to be a common thread. So you're going to pay a call on Rake and be like, hey, we're going to leave you a gift of this ghost train liquor to get your collection started. We look forward to working with you. Okay.
We'll give him the story. Like, I'll tell him, yeah, we stole this from a ghost train. It was powered by lightning.
And while we're down there, Victor will trip and fall where his hand lands where the hook is, and then as he's getting up, be like, oh, hey, what's this?
Well, you've patted some amount of soil and clay over the hook. You'd have to dig it back out.
Oh, that's fine. His fingers can dig in there while he's trying to get up.
Okay. So, down in the room, I mean, Rake is absolutely willing to bring you back down to his cellar and receive gifts. So Genie is handing over bottles of ghost train liquor. All of the PCs, Orson and Lugrin, are also in the room watching on. Lugrin is very suspicious because he was told, we're going to give you this stone and then we're going to peace out and let us know if you need anything. And then you immediately turned around. So yeah, Victor is strolling across the room. Makes a big show. Make me a dexterity deception check.
That's the advantage still in place there, Destil.
Less an hour.
Okay.
This is more than an hour later. This is the next morning.
Deception, you said?
Dexterity deception.
That's if a 16 fails, then it's going to be an 18.
16 will work. So Victor does a very believable pratfall in the corner. And then you scrabble at the soil for a moment, reach down. You're not going to be able to actually open the door without digging the soil out. But like you could hook your finger through the metal ring from here.
Yeah, he's going to hook his finger and be like, hey, whoa. It's like, you have another cellar down here? It's like, is this where you keep the extra special wine?
Rake is standing with his back to you, accepting bottles of liquor from Genie. Turns, are you all right, my lord?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I guess I tripped over this door here. Do you have another cellar? You're not holding out on us, are you? You don't have the special wine down there.
I'm afraid I don't know what you mean, my lord.
Oh, this. Victor kind of brushes himself up and then kicks the ground where he fell. Kicks the little hook. You got something down here in the dirt.
I beg your pardon?
Here, and Victor will kneel down and kind of brush it away.
Okay. Well, you'd have to get your shovel back out.
Well, he'll use his hands to kind of pull at the dirt.
Okay. Yeah, and after a few moments, you've dug a little pit in the hard dirt where you have this metal ring. And Rake is playing it completely cool. What have you found?
Don't know. It looks like you said you had people build this, right?
He nods and he reaffirms the story that you heard earlier today. What's everybody else's reaction to this situation?
It may not be him. It may be the woman.
Nonplussed, I would say, is
Like-
Ekon's reaction.
Yeah.
Like how? Like, is there any way
Again,
we
with
can?
his -2 deception.
I am just staring at his face, looking for any sign of deception on his part.
Victor is trying to pass this off as the workers gave you something else. Like, what is this? Let's check this out. And he'll start digging up the door.
Okay.
And again, I'm just watching. Jeannie's just watching the Mr. Wonder.
Rake plays it cool for another minute or two before Victor actually digs out the part of the door to where he could reach down and open it. And then he says that he has, once the room beyond is revealed, he says he has no idea what he's looking at or what, or who may have done this. Obviously, he's trying to pass the blame on one of his workers.
Can I try an insight on that one?
There's really no need. There's
Okay.
no way he didn't know about this. He's very clearly trying to cover something up.
Victor is making the suggestion that the workers must have given him an extra cellar so he can store more wine because they knew how valuable it was going to be, and they should go take a look at it.
They did not do so in my direction, I can assure you, my lord.
Well, you said they were friends, right? You had made friends with everybody in the village. Maybe they were just trying to help you out.
He turns to Evie and says, if it is your wish, I will have the space filled again. We have no use for it.
So which workers exactly did do that digging? Because this seems like something we should probably look into a little bit more closely.
So none of the workers that you guys had spoke to over the course of the morning seem to know about this secret space.
No, yeah, I'm trying to get him to tell me who he.
Once he
I'm
gets
getting
a
him
little
to
bit,
basically make a lie or something.
here's what I think what should happen is I think once we get him into a little bit of a off balance, Edmont will throw in some question in old Ferniskin or Ferniskin.
When you speak for Niskin, he legitimately doesn't understand the language. He apologetically, if it's your desire to, I would be more than happy to take tutelage in the native tongue of House Veritas. It would be an honor to learn.
Reek, come over. Why don't we take a look? And Victor will open up the door and kind of look down. They even put a ladder here. What?
He's only going to actually move over to the door if he's bolstered in that direction by the rest of the group. He's not going to.
Oh, we can do that. We can hem him in.
So you start.
Like, Stevie's position here is to just make him more and more uncomfortable until he reveals what's going on.
Okay.
So Ekon will say, so when I was doing my census earlier, when I first got here, I learned that some number of people died over the winter, including one of the workers who dug this. Do you think that was actually? I mean, everyone claimed it was a cold, but the flu, though the vapors. But do you think perhaps someone was trying to cover their tracks?
I don't understand why anybody would put this here and not tell you. It seems like a good idea.
At this point,
I mean, it's cold, it's dark.
you kind of have Rick hemmed in around the trapdoor. He holds his hands up. So I see what my lords and ladies are implying. Obviously, you are too perceptive and too skilled in magical arts. And yet, I feel obligated to protect my family and trade secrets. The secrets which will bring House Veritas no small amount of wealth in good trade, I assure you.
Rick, why don't you go down the ladder and show us this room? What are you so afraid of down there?
Make an insight check. I'll let anybody in on
That's
this.
probably going to be me. I'm a +10. I don't have any spells or
I mean,
anything.
everybody can roll individually since you're all in the room. This wouldn't need to be a group check.
It's a 28.
Nice.
25.
20. I guess I'll
Let's
roll
go.
for Orson too.
It'd be an 18 for Victor.
Yeah.
That's like a 12.
7.
7. So everybody except Edmont and Orson. It seems like a sincere offer. He's guarding a particular magical secret. But he only wants to tell you just enough about it to get you off his case and let him get to work. He
Nice.
feels
All
like
right.
revealing all of the entire secret would be damaging.
So just give me a reason to take your word on this. Tell me the constraints and what needs to actually go into the magic, what sort of things you have to spend on it, and then I think that might be sufficient.
And at this point, he rolls up his sleeves and shows you his arms and describes an ancient form of blood magic that can be used to nurture the soil so that growth is more expedient and the fruits are more bulbous and juicy. You'll get more wine, and more of the wine that you get will be of high quality more quickly than just using standard practices. In his family, this was just a sacrifice that he and all of his people made.
And how much blood does
When he
it
says like blood magic, Genie groans and pulls out a gold piece and slaps it in Victor's palm.
Victor pockets it and smiles.
So he says, unfortunately, he's the only man left of his family, but this is still a sacrifice he's willing to make in order to get this production off the ground. The reason for the second room, he says, is because the cellar itself wasn't deep enough to perform the magic, so he had a second chamber dug out even lower. Nobody else in town knows about it because he doesn't want anybody else in town knowing he's performing blood magic.
My
Okay.
concern is when you start using other people's blood to do this magic.
He tells you that there's no need for anything like that. And do we have anybody in the group who's skilled in both Insight and Arcana together?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I think most of the group probably is.
If you are, go ahead and
Arcana.
make one check or the other. Either Insight or Arcana. But you need both to be able to make either.
10. That is a 26. An Arcana,
Okay?
if that matters.
For somebody who doesn't have blood, you sure know a lot about blood magic.
Well,
Blood.
I had to read up about it so I could figure out where my blood went.
I used to have it. Now I keep it in a
Yes.
bag under the fridge.
She has lots of friends with blood.
Jeannie, you obviously don't perform blood magic, and not just because you don't have blood. It's like that kind of magic was not particularly prevalent in the Republic, and if it was, it would be looked on with great suspicion by the church.
Yeah, I didn't want to get burned at the stake for that.
Two things feel rotten about his explanation. You're willing to believe this idea of pouring magic into the soil because, like Lugerin said, literally that's what people back in the Republic were capable of doing. There are artificer guilds that operate vineyards that use magic to keep the soil full of nutrients, producing. So that part of it makes sense. The fact that it's blood magic and there's only one man here who's able or willing to give his blood, that seems less likely to you. And then you recall how adamant he was about keeping Lugrin close, befriending him and working with him. Because some elements of blood magic work better with higher quality blood. In other words, men of nobility.
And Genie will snap her fingers and point, and then she'll basically accuse him of that exact thing. It's like, you wanna use the high quality blood in my brother for your blood magic fertilizer.
High quality?
We're
Hey,
nobles.
Lugrin has
It's
a
like
very
plus
high.
2 blood?
Listen, I've become an expert on blood.
Lugrin is still standing
I'm
by
on
the stairs
board.
when you make that accusation, and he immediately... No, wait a minute. There's no need for this sort of accusation. And of course, Rake denies it. In fact, he says that the magic wouldn't work with anybody else's blood, and he's also lying about that.
Okay, at this point, Evie says, I'll tell you what this room is. It's going to be your tomb unless you tell me everything now.
Now who's threatening?
Wow. Genie kind of does a double take on that.
Evie, make an intimidation check. Make it at advantage, because you've got a lot of muscle in this room right now.
I am the Duchess.
And you've got a lot of muscle in this room right now.
Okay.
I think Saul desperately want like Evie's authority to like.
I've got. That wasn't the right roll. I hit the wrong button by mistake. That's okay.
He wants
Yeah,
Evie's
I mean-
authority to like stem from her being the Duchess, when really her authority stems from having a lot of muscle on hand all the time.
That's going to be a 24 on Intimidate.
We're basically a crime family.
Rake breaks a little bit. He says, there's nothing to tell, my lady,
Bullshit.
please. And he looks around, glancing at all the weapons in the room, and your reputation precedes you. Yes, potentially the magic would work better with nobles' blood. And yes, of course, if I could have a relationship where I could confide this in your brother, Lord Lugrin, and if he were, of course, willing. But there's... to insinuate that I would... against his... And he's just stammering and trying to defend himself and having great difficulty because of all of the muscle bearing down on him right now.
Lugrin.
Oh, you do want my brother's high quality blood.
All of the color has gone from Lugrin's face at that admission.
Lugrin, is this what you want? You want to use your blood to help the crops grow?
Peter, shut up.
Lugrin swallows hard. I think I want a drink.
I reach in my bag and toss him a bottle. Give him a wink.
And with that, Lugrin immediately reverses back to his old state of, well, things are starting to get hard, so I'm going to get drinking. And he just kind of collapses, sitting onto the stairs, pops the cork out of the bottle.
Genie.
Go grab his. It's complicated, and make sure she's not in on this.
Well, she's still upstairs somewhere.
Well, I'm asking Edmont to go grab her.
Hey, Evie. Grab her yourself. Edmund's not your slave. We've been over this.
Not yet, anyway. Is Edmund going to go retrieve Lucy from upstairs?
Yeah.
Okay. And she's in the kitchen, tending to some housework. She's brought down to the cellar.
Excuse me, madam. We have need of you.
What do you ask of her?
We need you to come downstairs with us.
Right. Well, once you get her back down to the cellar, what is asked of her?
Are you in on? Is he using your blood? Do you have high quality blood?
Just basically, we're going to grill her and see if she knew anything about what was going on here.
So she's standing back by the stairs with Edmont and Lugrin at her back. And she looks horrified for a moment. Back and forth between you guys and Rake. And eventually she says, you said that they wouldn't find out. You said that he was a drunkard and a lout.
Listen, only we can insult Lugrin.
if he's a drunkard and a loud, he is a drunkard and a loud with family who care deeply for him.
He's my drunkard and loud.
And very noble magical blood, let it be said.
Who said that?
Lugrin.
Oh yeah, he has very high quality blood.
So
Very
the
high
question now
quality.
is what is done with Rick?
I think I've heard enough to have them both hung.
No, what?
What? Listen.
You were gonna kill my brother!
No, they were going to, like, his plan to, like, I don't know how bullshit this was, but his plan was to befriend Lugrin and talk him into donating blood over a long period of time.
Reek,
Like-
you need to be honest with us right now. How much
Actually-
of what would you have used?
What does Lucy say the plan was? Because she's obviously knows. Like, is the plan more a long-term draining, like to get him to voluntarily?
She doesn't let a lot
That
slip
doesn't
before
matter.
he shuts her up, but after the jig is up and you guys start pressing her, once the first harvest had come and gone, for the second harvest, the plan was going to be to sacrifice Lugrin down in this bloodletting dungeon.
So just like kill him.
And they were just going to send word that he had fallen off a horse or down a hill or drank himself to death or something like that.
Yeah.
You couldn't be smart and just use a little. You wanted to use all of it. Is that right, Evie? You can hang him if you want.
They're both getting hung. They were gonna kill my brother.
That's like
That's conspiracy to commit murder? I mean, I don't think that you're not wrong. I just think that you might want to give it a minute before you jump to that conclusion.
Listen.
So that they can go somewhere else and do this to somebody else?
Rick
No,
plays
I
with
mean,
his
you
life.
might want to think for more than I don't know, 30 seconds since you discovered that they were going to do this before you decide to commend them to death.
For killing my brother. That's what they were gonna do. I don't
This
see
is
a whole lot
not
of reason to
a
deliberate.
time where you need to act in self-defense. We have time to actually decide what the just and lawful sequence of action to take is now.
Ekon, what does the court say about conspiracy to commit murder? What is the punishment for that?
Not actually killing someone is a very different crime than murder.
Okay, what's the punishment for conspiracy to commit murder back home?
I mean,
There's actually an
there
answer to
aren't.
this
I'm
question.
pretty sure my read of the Aetherian Faith is there are not set punishments for individual things. It would come down to the judge, right?
More or less.
I mean, well, do you have alternatives? Like, we don't have a place to keep them long term.
Our options are to either, kill them or keep them in prison forever or let them go somewhere else to do this to somebody else. None of those options sound very good to me.
There's another option. We could just let them make wine under strict supervision.
Are you fucking high, Victor?
I'm just saying I'm not comfortable condemning them both to death from the 5 minutes we've had down here. I think we should at the very least have an actual trial.
The closest
Alright.
tenet in the Aetherian edicts is tenet number 2. Destruction absent necessity is a sin most grievous. A person found to have extinguished life or despoiled land or brought to ruin wealth or property or any similar thing without need or purpose shall have their body despoiled by the church in similar fashion to their crimes so that their spirit be cleansed.
Yep.
So you'd want to exsanguinate them?
That's what it sounds like.
I mean,
But
if you want
how
to have a
that's
trial,
actually interpreted, Ekon has the authority to interpret that however he likes for this particular.
I mean, I'm willing to have a trial and then probably execute them under the tenets of the church. I'm not willing to just pull out my holy symbol and turn them both into ash right here.
okay, we could take.
Sorry, but we're going to do this correctly.
We'll transport them back to our village to be dungeoned, and
My
then
lady,
we will have a trial.
If I may speak in
You
my,
may
in my
not.
defense.
There's an entire trial for that.
You
which
need me
should
here. Without me, the magic
getting
doesn't
you,
work.
Because my cousin is a little bit unhinged right now, and not for unjust reasons.
Hey,
Without
Mr.
you, there's grain, not wine. That's not the word.
A lot.
Mr. Wonderkid, you better be quiet. The reasonable twin has left the building.
So Rake's assertion that without him you will not get excellent turnaround on any sort of vintage here. You will lose
Hold
any
on,
ability
totally
to have,
deaf ears.
don't
He
care
is
whatsoever.
not having it.
The life of your drunken, useless brother far outstrips the potential prosperity that Rayek and his blood magic could bring to the vineyard.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Worst case, we get wheat.
Nobody makes any dark powers checks then.
So I cannot.
Yes.
I was not
still kind of blown away that was a question that had to be asked.
I mean, Eugenie's in the party.
They can have a trial, but it's a token trial at best. We know the facts.
Yeah.
And are you doing this
I'm
here
fine
or
with
back
that.
at Silverbow?
I'm fine with doing it here, honestly.
I was going to say, let's go back and do it in Silverbow so the whole village can know that blood magic is not okay.
I mean, the whole village there already
We know
knows
about it.
someone. No one here does yet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like everybody here's friends. It's like, yeah, no, this guy.
I mean, he admitted it. We can get him to admit it in front of the village. They're not going to say, oh, they killed our buddy. It's going to say, oh, he was secretly a blood mage. That's terrible. Unless they're all blood mages. This could be Dragon Age 2.
So you're going to have a trial for both of them, which is essentially going to be you laying the accusations, explaining the evidence you found.
Zone of truth, the whole thing.
Okay. Somebody give me somebody, not Ekon or Evie, because they're going to be conducting the trial, I'm assuming. One of the other three of you, actually all three of you, I'll ask this.
All right.
If you have a particular skill or course of action you think you'd like to put into play during the trial to sway the other villages to your line of thinking, nobody's going to stand against you. You guys are the nobility. You are the Duchess. But there's a PR situation here. They like Rake. Rake has been useful in the village. He was going to make them all very rich. And he's going to spend this entire trial under Zone of Truth appealing to them that he's going to make them all very rich if they put a stop to it.
Jeannie is going to use. She could use her Arcana to explain the way the magic works, and then basically insinuate that, well, you know, when he runs out of that blood, what's to say that he doesn't want you and your kid's blood?
Okay, so yeah, go ahead. And, that's not going to be an Arcana check.
Historical.
That's going to be a persuasion check.
Okay.
Do Victor and Edmont have anything they'd like to add here?
Yeah, Victor is going to add in the fact that as soon as people know how this wine is going to be made, nobody's going to want to purchase it, and so it's not actually going to be economically viable.
That's going to be a deception check because you are. There's no way that's true.
Historical parallels of history in Grand Francisco, the land that we came from, where these kinds of things end up with doom for all.
So Edmund is taking the standpoint of like, you're all Darkanese, but we're from Fernisco. Like, our way of life is better, and it's provably better because this village is doing better than it has been in years because we've come here. Okay. Yeah, go ahead and give me a history check. So persuasion,
that's
deception, and then history.